So there's that constant sense of interest and looking at our experience and using precepts, for instance, as a way of seeing that. Once you have that sense of podi, of just the right amount, there is a sense of real balance and coolness in life. So the next is one is knowing time and place. This is a recurrent theme in the training, and again one which is very much dependent on the development of mindfulness and that kind of sensitivity to situations and sensitivity to the ripeness of situations. And when we are very angry or anxious about something, and sometimes we're very self-righteous about something, and something really does need to be said, but because we don't have that sense of time and place, we speak about it in prematurely, when the other person is not ready, not in a right frame of mind to be able to listen to what we're saying, or we ourselves are just so caught up in our emotion that we end up speaking far more strongly than we intended to, and find ourselves speaking hurtfully or offending the other person, and so on and so forth. So it's not that perhaps a conversation shouldn't take place, but that because we lack that sense of time and place and being able to patiently wait until the conditions are the best possible way they could be for this particular conversation to take place, that we find great frustration. A lot of things that need to be done, we find we don't have enough time because we're too busy doing other things, and so going back to this whole time management again. But mindfulness is that quality of being present, and being present not just to your own body and mind, but to the whole context in which you are living, and what's going on around you. And the last two of these qualities are concerned with this also, and they're social qualities. That's knowing the individual and knowing the group or the community or the society. Now, one of the values of a regular meditation practice is that you are, as it were, coming face to face with the human condition. You're putting the human condition under a microscope, as it were, the human condition as it manifests in your own body and mind. So when you try to be mindful and to steady the mind, clarify the mind, then it's like trying to train a wild animal, and it reacts, and the mind goes crazy, and it falls into its habitual modes of escape. And we can see how the mind tries to escape into pleasant fantasies, imagination, memories, or it gets caught up in aversion and anger, or depression, boredom, laziness, or mental agitation, or doubts. And all these mental states arise and become very clearly manifest as reactions to this effort to dwell awake and mindful in the present moment. So if we don't take it all very personally, but we see these as mental states, then even while our meditation practice is not particularly strong, we're deriving a great deal of understanding of the way that negative mental states work, what they feed on, what makes them stronger, what makes them weaker, how they arise, how they pass away. So if you see within yourself this your own sense of greed and lust and covetousness and aversion and so on as a mental state which is arising and trying to pull the mind away from the present moment, then you are developing an understanding of that human quality which is manifest in everyone else. So the clearer insights you have into different mental states which manifest in your own mind, then the more understanding you have of the people around you. The way that you lie to yourself is the way that other people lie to themselves. When you see how your mind can just be swept away by some negative emotion just out of the blue, and how strong and powerful it can be, and how difficult it is to deal with, then ideally when you see that in somebody else, there is an enhanced empathy and understanding and forgiveness. Oh, that's exactly what happens to me. You know, that person's just completely lost it because of that particular event or something. You know, that happens to me when that happens. And so the more you see and the more you look at the way your own mind works, the more you understand how other people's mind works. And this is one of the benefits of meditation practice, which becomes apparent very quickly, even though, as I say, you may not feel yet that you've derived any great benefit from meditation, sense of enhanced inner peace and wisdom and so on. But there is this growing insight into the human condition through having to deal with the nitty-gritty of your own human condition that manifests when you try to meditate. The last of these qualities is understanding of communities, how communities work, and being able to function within families and communities in the best possible way. And so, quite a qualities here that are needed. One was saying is sila, and restraint of body and speech, and that aspect of the training, but also being able to adapt and compromise and not to attach too strongly to views and opinions and beliefs in particular. And so the teaching of non-attachment is a very central one in the Buddhist tradition. And my teacher would say very simply, if you attach to something a lot, you suffer a lot. You attach to something a little, you suffer a little. You don't attach, then you don't suffer. And what attachment means in this sense is attaching to something as me or mine, or in other terms, identifying with something. So if you have a particular idea or a particular opinion, and you identify with it, then you get into an argument, and then suddenly where's all this emotion coming out? Actually quite a minor point of procedure or way of doing things, and suddenly there's all this kind of emotion coming up, because it's not so much the issue itself. It's your relationship to the issue, and the fact that your sense of self, your standing in the community, your dignity, your respect and your image and so on has all been projected onto this idea. So you have to protect this idea and fight for this idea, come what may. And so you can find yourself, I'm sure I found myself in a position where you're protecting and speaking up quite strongly for a position you no longer hold. You've already been convinced that you've got it wrong, but you just can't somehow come around to admitting that, in the course of an argument. So that sense of attaching to particular thoughts, ideas, being willing to compromise, being willing to let go of the way you like to do things in certain areas, But in a sense also knowing when not to compromise. You know, if you take fitting in as your goal,